My name is Bob Gray. I'm in the 1999 OATA Hall of Fame class, along with Gary Giffen and Bill Testador. Currently, my job is the coordinator of athletic training community affairs at Cleveland Clinic Sports Health.
How did you first get involved with the OATA?
My first job was at Oberon College, and that was when it was in the Ohio Athletic Trainers or Ohio Athletic Conference, and I got to meet Dale Guggens, Al Rector, George Chrisman, long older athletic trainers who kind of brought me along. And then through those introductions, I met Gary Lake, and then from there on, it's just been probably one of the greatest things I've ever done.
Okay. What is the biggest change you have seen in athletic training?
Technology has been probably the biggest change, and also the addition of some fantastic women in our profession, which has just been one of the best things that have happened to both our profession and to the female athletes.
Okay. If you could change one thing in athletic training, what would it be?
Wow. That's a great question. Probably the one thing is to go back to our roots. With all the new education requirements and everything, there's so many time constraints on people. To be honest with you, when I was in undergrad and graduate school, and even my first job, I didn't know what a time restraint was. I mean, you just did your job, and if it took you 40 hours, if it took you 50 hours, you just did your job, and you did it the best you could. That would probably be the one biggest thing that I would try to draw the happy medium between getting your job done and family values and different things like that, because it's a hard mix sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for younger members?
Pearls of wisdom. Basically, a couple of my mentors when I was younger basically just said, get involved, ask questions, don't settle for the status quo, but just get involved as much as you can and ask as many questions, because the more questions you can ask, the more you get involved, the better of a person and or an athletic trainer you will be, and then the benefit will be to the athletes that you serve.
Okay. What is one quote you are known for, or phrase you have repeated throughout your career?
Every day's a good day.
Okay.
I mean, that's
good one.
That's probably the most important. When I see anybody, they just say, how's your day? Every day's a great day, in my opinion.
Gotcha. What are your favorite memories from being involved in the OATA?
Just the camaraderie, the meeting with the members of the executive council, the executive committee, meeting other athletic trainers from around the state, and then allowing the OATA to expand my horizons to both the District Athletic Trainers Association and along to the National Association. Those are some of the best memories that they taught me how to keep involved, how to stay involved, and how to expand my horizons, which I think has made me a relatively good athletic trainer.
What is the biggest challenge you've seen or experienced in your career? And that could be both either personally for you or just for the profession as a whole.
I think being able to have family time. I mean, that's probably been one of the hardest things that we look at is personal time, because the demands of the job are so strenuous. I was fortunate. I've been married for 35 years to a fantastic young lady. We have two beautiful kids. But I think probably the hardest thing is being able to juggle between family and job and creating that happy medium, which is so important to everybody's mental health. And that's probably the most important thing right there, is if you don't have a happy home or a happy job, one of the two are going to suffer. And that's the hardest thing you can do.
What is the best part about being an athletic trainer and being involved with the OATA?
Well, just knowing people, getting to know people, and working with people. To me, it's been my passion. I mean, knowing people throughout throughout the state of Ohio, and then both through the district and through national. It's just a fantastic profession, and I would probably never change it.
Kind of going off of that, what does it mean to be an athletic trainer to you?
Oh, just being able. First off, I feel we're in the best profession there is. We're able to help people. We're able to influence people. We're able to work with families, coaches, and to make a difference in kids and the kids' lives, the parents' lives, and hopefully get the coaches to come around and understand what we do.
Looking back, would you change something about your career? And if so, what would it be and why?
No, I feel I've been blessed. I started off at Oberlin College and worked in the orthopedic office, and for the last 25 years I've been in the Cleveland Clinic. So, knock on wood, I feel like I've been blessed, and I've had a tremendous career. Hopefully it's not over.
Right. Were you an author, creator, or inventor of something? And if so, what is it, and how did it come about?
I've written some chapters in books several books that dealt with the clinical athletic trainers society, but outside of that, it's just day-to-day operations.
I gotcha. Tell us how you got interested in athletic training, and give us a brief synopsis of your career.
I got interested in athletic training. I grew up in Pittsburgh. My dad was the dentist for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then he used to take me to summer camp, and that's where I met my first mentor, whose gentleman's name was Ralph Berlin, who actually taught me how to be an athletic trainer. More importantly, taught me how to treat people, and you treat people the way you would want to be treated, and that's always been my motto. Unfortunately, we lost Ralph in the fall, but he was somebody who I totally respected. From high school, I went to Mount Union College. From Mount Union College, I went to Indiana State University. Got my master's in athletic training in 1977. Spent 4 years at Oberlin College. 1 year at Akron, where I was fortunate to work with Gary Lake for a year, and Gary actually rekindled the fire to get me more and more involved, and actually got me to become the newsletter editor for the Great Lakes Athletic Trainers Association. Then I worked in an orthopedic office in Moraine, Ohio, and like I mentioned earlier, I've been at the Cleveland Clinic for the last 25 years.
Okay. Please describe a typical day for you when you were a college student, and then your first job, and then your current job.
Cool. College student is that have classes, get over early, head to the athletic training. For the first 2 quarters, but in the fall and the spring, I played on the golf team at Mount Union. So I was an athlete. I worked football, basketball, and wrestling, and then was an athlete after that. First job at Oberlin College, we had, I believe, 18 varsity sports, and I was the only athletic trainer.
Wow.
And then I actually taught 2 classes. So my days would usually start probably about 7:50 in the morning with my first class that I taught, and then I would have a little bit of a break, and then depending on who was at home and if I was traveling, who knows what time I would get home.
Mm-hmm.
The classic, what I always would tell my wife is that you know I'm getting home about 30 seconds after you hear the garage door engage. So that's about the time I got home. Now my job is kind of interesting now because I work in our concussion center at the Cleveland Clinic on Monday. We have an NFL Players Association retired players program, which takes me 2.5 days a week at the Cleveland Clinic, and then for the next day and a half I get caught up on paperwork or do administrative work and or plan all our community affairs that we cover throughout the Cleveland Clinic.
Okay. Looking back to that first job, how much was your first salary?
First salary was, I believe it was $9,000. I lived in a college-owned home, and they took my rent, my utilities out of that, and I think my monthly take home was about $189 a month.
Okay. And in that first job, again, how did you document things?
Wrote things down on notebook papers and had a file, had football, basketball, baseball, and just stuck it in those.
Gotcha. Okay. Would you please explain how your practice or philosophy has changed throughout your career?
To be honest with you, it's never really changed because I do try to treat people the way I would want them to treat me. And if you continue that theory and that motto, it works throughout the agency.
Okay. Lastly, any final thoughts or comments?
Nope. It's, like I mentioned before, and I was fortunate enough to be inducted into our National Athletic Trainers Hall of Fame in 2016, as I mentioned. I'm in the greatest profession in the world. We need to take our challenges, meet them head on, and go forward and not allow this association to ever suffer.